I am really excited for today's video because a couple days ago I got a new blender and I've been really wanting to try it out. This is called the VAVA, I don't know. I saw this for sale on Amazon for $100 and thought at that price I can't really pass it up. Let me give you some background. I've had this Blendtec blender for nearly 10 years. I love this thing. This is a really great, powerful blender. But one thing I've always wanted it to have in the jar was a tamper, like this. The Vitamix blender has a tamper. This does not. Because there's no tamper, a lot of times things get stuck, so I'll stick a spoon in or shake it or do weird stuff. But this past year, I bought this. It's the twister jar for the blender, and it sells for $105. So I bought it, and it kind of works, but it splatters stuff out all the time, and it's kind of sad. So when I saw this for $100, that came with all this stuff, I'm like, okay, I spent more money on this than this entire blender set. So I'm gonna try this out today and see how it compares to this blender. And I'm stoked. So in this video, I'm going to run a few experiments on things that I do all the time in this Blendtec, and I'm going to see how well the VAVA compares. Before I begin with the experiment, I want to talk a little bit about blenders just to give this some context. Before I saw this, there have been three blenders I've always been interested. One is the Vitamix. It's really expensive. Let's see. So I looked on Amazon at all of these blenders, and I'll post the links below in the video. But the Vitamix is $585, crazy expensive, or refurbished for $270. It's 1380 watts, 1380 watts. The Blendtec is $308 on Amazon, or $200 refurbished, but it has the most wattage at 1560. The Ninja is another blender. I've seen it at Walmart, seen it on Amazon. It looks actually pretty cool, and it's the same price as this. It's $100 on Amazon, but it's only 1100 watts. So this one I got for $100 on sale, which I think they're all on sale. I think everything I've ever bought on Amazon's on sale. So I'm not sure what price this is supposed to be, but I got it for $100. And it's 1200 watts. So this is kind of in between the Ninja and the Vitamix for how powerful it is. So we're gonna do some tests and see. Oh, I'm really excited. Okay, before I get ahead of myself with the tests, I kind of just wanted to show you some of the differences and similarities I've noticed with this. Okay, so for one, the Blendtec, it's just got rubber feet, which is fine, it works. This has suctions, which kind of make it stay in place a little bit better. That's pretty cool. Honestly, this looks awesome. It is bigger than this, but it looks really cool. When you turn this on, this has a nice digital display. It has a countdown of how long things are gonna go. That's actually really useful. Obviously, this has no display. This has preset buttons, or you've got pulse or speed up, speed down. I use these all the time. This does have pulse and low, medium, high, and it has some preset settings, but you know, it'd be nice if it had this display. As far as looks go, I think I'd pick this. One cool thing I noticed about this is you can't actually turn it on until the jar is in. Then you can turn it on. That's pretty cool. That's a nice safety feature. No one's gonna be spinning that or anything. I guess with the jar, let's talk about the jars for a second. You'll notice this is bigger. This is actually twice as big as this. Cool beans. As I mentioned before, this comes with a tamper, which I'm really excited to start using. I feel like the tamper doesn't go down as far as it could or should, but something is better than nothing. This has no tamper. The plastic on this lid is hard with rubber around it, This lid, it's a complete rubber lid. The blade, wow, yeah, I've used this a lot. The blade in the Blendtec, it's only the one blade, or one blade. This has 2 blades. This comes with this jar, which is really cool. You could do smoothies, put all your fruit in, turn it on, bam. Okay, one thing I like to do is I don't know if you can see that. I grind my own wheat, and I make whole wheat. I always do it 2 cups at a time, so that's what we're gonna do. In the Blendtec, I just go speed up until it's the fastest speed, and then this automatically turns off, I think after about a minute. This doesn't have speed up, it has low, medium, high. So I'm gonna try to do them at the same time. And then when this turns off, I will turn this off, and then we will compare. I hope I don't blow a circuit or anything. I think I put each blender on its own different circuit, but I'm not sure. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be loud. Oh, I'm so excited. So let's get 1 cup here. Did I mention I've never used this before? I have no idea what's gonna happen. I might break it. We'll find out. Okay, 1 cup here, 1 cup here, 1 cup here. Okay, cool. Whew, I'm a bit nervous. I haven't felt like this for a while. Okay, here we go. How was that? That was exciting. Okay, let's have a look. That still feels a bit gritty. Okay, the Blendtec is definitely smoother. Okay, so we've already blended them for about a minute. Blendtec is smoother. We're going to do 1 more minute, see if that changes anything. Okay, here we go. Let's have a look. So this is after 2 minutes. We got the VAVA here, the Blendtec. Let me bring you in close. Okay, so here's the VAVA. This actually, it looks really, really smooth. More so than the Blendtec. I don't know if you can see that. When you look at the Blendtec, you can see kind of the coarse grain. When you look on the VAVA, though, it looks more like real flour. For 2 minutes, so let's feel the Blendtec. That is pretty smooth. Oh boy, that's also pretty smooth. I can't. Oh, this is hard to tell. The test number 1, grinding wheat. Very interesting. Here's what I've learned. Blendtec is certainly more powerful. That was pretty obvious. It blended this a lot faster than the VAVA did. Once we hit the 2 minute mark though, it really became kind of difficult to tell which one was actually better. So I guess what that means is if speed is your main goal, you know, Blendtec's the way to do it. If you don't care as much about speed, but maybe you care about price, VAVA might be the better option just because it's the end result is really, really close. I can't tell. I still feel like the Blendtec did a little bit better job with the wheat, but this was really close. So spend 1 extra minute and a couple $100 less, I guess. Okay, interesting. So what should our next test be? Okay, I just cleaned the jars, and I will say this, this jar was way easier to clean, but I am pretty positive that's just because I've been using this for like 7 years and this is pretty beat up. But that's still pretty cool. I didn't even have to use a scrub brush, just put some soap in, blended it up. It's good to go. This one, a lot of the cornmeal stuck to it, so I had to get a scrub brush. But like I said, this probably would have been the same when it was brand new like this. So, for my next experiment, I want to do something I do just about every day because it's summer. I make ices or slushies or shaved ice or whatever you want to call it. I put ice in here with some juice or whatever. For this experiment, I'm just going to put ice and nothing else because I'm kind of curious to see how this will act. I know in the Blendtec a lot of times it will push things up and then it will get stuck because it will need more water or something. We'll see if this does the same. So let me get some ice. Okay. Whoa. One thing I will note is I could have used the tamper on this. If I was making like a milkshake, I almost definitely would have, or soup or something, but let's have a look. I'm pretty curious. Oh. That's a bummer. That's an ice cube. Kind of similar. Whoa! Full on ice cube here. Ice cube alert. Okay, with the shaved ice test, I'd call it a pretty even draw. So Blendtec's still winning in the test here. It does a finer job chopping things up or blending things up. I've got one more test that we can try out. For my final test, I'm going to do a personalized size cup for a smoothie. This is a berry medley. Okay, so we're gonna do this with the Blendtec first. My bad. The Blendtec doesn't come with a personalized size cup. So, bummer. We won't get to see that. But I will say I've made about 1,000 smoothies in the Blendtec, and it does a great job, minus the fact that you have to get a spoon in, jam it, move the sides, unless you make it really watered down. I like these things thick. So, that's kind of a bummer for me. Let's see how the VAVA does. Okay, so I've put my fruit medley. I put my fruit medley in a cup, added some vanilla. I'm gonna put some milk in. I don't want to add too much because I want it thick, but I want enough that it will mix up because there's no camphor for this. That should be more than enough. Let's see. This is cool. I've never actually used one of these things before because I've always had a Blendtec. So I'm kind of nervous that it's gonna be messy, but we'll see. So I put it on top of there. Please don't spill. Cool. Okay, that looks goofy. Let's see if that works. Okay. Fun fact, when you have the single serve on, you can only press the single serve button. This totally did not blend all the way, so I'm gonna do what I do in all blenders I've ever used. Shake it up and try again. Oh, interesting. Kind of popped it off. Okay, so a couple things I learned with this. For one, if you do a single serve, you've only got one button to single serve. If it vibrates up, it will turn off. Maybe that's a safety feature. Yeah, that makes sense. I just put my hand on top of it to force it down. I did have to shake it a bit to blend. This is really quite thick though, and it seems to have done a really good job. Let's oh yeah, look at that. It's not even falling. I guess it probably needs some air. Let's see if it falls after I take this off. Nope. Nope, that's not gonna fall. I was gonna eat this with a straw, but how are you supposed to eat it with the straw if there's nothing down? I could suck up the air, and then the thing would go down. Oh, let's try that. That'll be cool. Comes with a lid, so you can drink it. There's no way I'm gonna be able to drink this. Okay. So, gonna put the straw in and suck out the air so that the drink goes down. Well, that worked. I'm a genius. That is a good smoothie, and I need a longer straw. What's up with that? That is good. Unfortunately, my camera battery died before I was able to show you the smoothie I made, but it was so good, and this did a really good job blending it up. I actually really like this single serve cup. I've never used one of these before. It's nice because it's so small that the blades will kind of pull everything down so it can really blend things well. So I just want to share some of my final thoughts about this VAVA compared to the Blendtec. It's obvious that the Blendtec is definitely a more powerful blender. That's not in question. I'm still in love with my Blendtec. I think I will always have a place in my heart for Blendtec. I've used this thing for, a long time. That being said, I've been really impressed with this VAVA blender. Ultimately, it was able to do basically everything that the Blendtec can do. I think I'm gonna go ahead and use this just as my primary blender, and I think the reason for that is, for one, I know my wife is gonna love using this. I like using this. I like making smoothies a lot. This is just such an easier way to do that than using the Blendtec and getting a spoon and trying to jam things in there and getting it to work. And then the other things, like blending or grinding flour, making flour from wheat, stuff like that. The Blendtec does seem to do a better job, but this does just about as well if you blend it for a longer time, which I'm okay with doing that. The other things I really like about this VAVA is the jar is a lot larger, so that kind of brings up some possibilities of some things we can do. We can do more soups in this, sauces, things like that. We can do things in larger quantities. So that's actually kind of nice. So if you were to ask me about, I think I bought this 5 months ago, which I'd rather get a twister jar from Blendtec or this entire blender set. I feel pretty dumb if I went ahead and bought this, especially knowing what I do now. This isn't that great, whereas this blender set, for the price, I mean, I got this for $100. This is just a good blender. You could expect, whoa. I think this comes off. Hang on. Whoa. No way. You can take this off and clean it. That's pretty cool. So I guess the real question now is, will this blender last as long as the Blendtec has lasted me? I will let you know in about 7 more years.